Good morning and welcome to the broadcast. On this project, I've had several questions asked repeatedly, and today I'm going to answer those questions. Question number one, what are all these tubes sticking up out of the ground? The easiest answer I can give is they are tree seedlings. After this property was logged, the customer had a company come in and replant an assortment of different trees that are going to look great on this property. This is going to work great in the future, but as far as continuing cleanup, it will make it a little more difficult. Our original burn site, which is the second question, why are we not just burning all of this debris? The reason is, in North Carolina, I have to be 500 feet from any dwelling, and right now in this spot, at best, I am 200 feet from all the surrounding dwellings. You also have to be 200 feet from a road, which we are, but the distance from the dwellings is the reason we can't burn. Also, going up this mountain is a whole lot of what looks like straw, pampas grass, not to mention all of the old dried out logging debris. It's just a huge tinder bundle just waiting to go off. That's the short answer for why I'm not burning. We did burn way over here, and I will put a little link up on the screen right now to that part of the project, which is probably a lot more fun to watch than what I've been doing here. But I've decided to take this channel in a direction of daily operations, going over everything I'm doing. That way people who are brand new to this industry can get the most good out of it, down to every little detail that I think could help somebody who doesn't have anybody else to teach them these things. We had a huge fire going way over there, but now in that location, we have a whole bunch of these tubes and tree saplings, and really, the pit that I dug took up the whole area that I had available, and it's now full of ash and has been covered over and graded, and again, there's trees, these little tree saplings put in the ground. The last question that somebody asked me is, why the hard hat? I used to be a tree worker, I was a tree climber, and anytime I am doing this kind of work, where there is any chance I'm going to be getting out of the machine around standing trees, I like to have a hard hat on. I don't know how many times I've been cutting into a brush pile and a stick come up, whack me, and a lot of times this brim right here saves you from really taking the brunt of getting slapped in the face. And if you think you're going to be in tree work or cleaning up like this, and you think you're not going to get slapped in the face, I wish I had a video of the last time I really took a hit to the face and I ended up getting back in my excavator to sit and collect myself, and the floor of the excavator being covered in blood. If you think you're not going to get hit in the face, you're going to. I can promise you that. And I have a friend also that he was working for Asplin Tree Company, and his chainsaw kicked back, and he's still got his hard hat where it cut into the bill. He's wearing a hard hat just like this, and it cut in to the bill, and it didn't get his face. Those couple of stories alone. Also, the other reason is you'll see me wear a hard hat and chaps around a job site like this is it's because of a tree felling accident that I never met my grandfather on my dad's side. His dad got killed in a tree cutting accident when my dad was 2 years old. He barely remembers his dad, and I never got the opportunity to meet the person who gave life to the greatest man I've ever known. So that kind of hits home for me. Protecting yourself in this industry, you're responsible for your safety. You're responsible for whether you go home to these people or not. I've got a beautiful wife, beautiful daughter, and I hope to have another kid or two, and the only way that that's going to happen is if I keep myself alive and healthy. Therefore, hard hat is number one. Let me just give you a shot. You guys see that widowmaker hung up in that tree? That's from that dead tree that's leaning right there. When it fell and hit, it's rotted off and it's gotten hung. If you've worked out in the woods enough, long enough, you've gotten out of the machine and you're doing all kinds of work, disturbing things, and you're standing there and you start hearing crack, crack, snap. Those aren't the concern things. It's when it stops. and you no longer hear snapping and cracking, and you just hear this sound of something falling. That is a very awakening sound and feeling. You guys keep yourselves safe. Wear whatever you think is going to protect you. I don't know much loggers that go out and don't have a hard hat either on their head or under their arm. That's a long way of explaining why the hard hat, and very rarely will you see me run a chainsaw without my chaps on. I just recently had a friend of mine, he was working with his brother, and sure enough, cut his knee wide open with his chainsaw. It does not take but a second. And trees in general, they're good at two things: injuring humans and killing humans. That's about it, and making sticks. You guys be careful out there. Today, on this little project, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun because, frankly, I'm getting bored. Today's fun little project is I'm gonna try to get this pile moved. I'm gonna do time lapse because I think frankly, you guys are probably getting a little bit bored too. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a different way of doing this. Originally, I was just grabbing and loading, and there was a lot of air in those loads. There was a lot of wasted space as far as hauling goes. My plan is to start at this end of the pile, and I'm gonna crunch it, and I'm gonna mash it down, I'm gonna crunch it, I'm gonna break all this dried stuff up into little bitty pieces, and any large hardwood pieces I'm just gonna spin around and stack over here to be more usable. Who knows, I may have a slow day and I may come over here and just cut up a load of firewood and give it to somebody. Let's just work this pile up and see how much smaller we can make it in a really fast time lapse simply by crunching it up. And then we'll do some loading footage. I can't stand this bucket. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because it uses these little roll pins to hold these teeth on. And if you go to pounding on anything with any resistance, it will squish that roll pin, and it's real easy for these teeth to get pulled off backwards. Can't stand that design on this Tag bucket. So Tag, fix it, please. Luckily, it seems like the easier it is for something to break, the easier it is to fix it. So that pin's still in there, so we're just gonna take our handy dandy saw tool, pop him right out, clean that a little bit. See how we've run weld on here to make that tooth a little tighter. Just gonna clean him up. It's not gonna hurt. You don't have to do this super duper clean. And of course you can see the two ends of that roll pin. All you gotta do, actually it's pushed that way, so I'm gonna turn it like that. And you just line him up, give it a tap. That side's out. Now I'm gonna do this side. Hopefully it'll come out easy. Just like that. You're a lucky son of a gun if you can find that. If you can catch it when it first falls off, you're in pretty good shape. Just tap it right in. And tap it on through just a touch. Just a touch. Yep. That's pretty good. It's on there solid. I usually weld these too. Just a touch, but I don't have my welder handy. See, that one's, this is another thing. What we'll do is run some weld, not necessarily to connect the tooth, but just to keep it from wobbling. And you can see, these are starting to get a little loose. That one's solid. That one's still pretty solid, so gonna need to do some weld maintenance on this bucket soon. Yeah, see, that tooth's not pushed in quite far enough. So that tighten him up just a little bit. I hate those roll pins though. I can't stand those. My 3-foot bucket has got a lot better pin and it goes in from the side. I like those better. That's just me though. Come on. All right. let's go have some fun. Right here is a prime example, everybody. See that hanging right there? That is a widowmaker. That tree is partially alive and dead. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing these longer sticks and I'm breaking them on this tree because it's leaning and I need to take it down anyway, but I'm using it right now. There is your reason that I wear a hard hat. If that fell, I doubt the weight of that would break my neck, but I'm definitely going to fare a lot better without a huge gash in my head. So we're making us a good little pile of fairly small stuff that's going to load up a lot quicker. Let's keep at it. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's wanting to see a couple of minutes of this in real time, so that's what we'll do. If I reach into the pile and I'm squeezing it and it just suddenly stops, I know there's a hardwood in there that I'm not going to be able to break very easy, like this. And I'm just tossing it over here on my little skid pile. And I come back over here. If there's any long pieces, I just go ahead and drop it. And that way when I move down, I can go to my breaker tree and just break it up. Now I'm not trying to pick it up and out of there. I know I've got that heavy log right there. So as I grab these, I'm just pulling them straight out to me and letting the weight of that big log snap them one time for free. Every time you grab this stuff, you're breaking it up and doing yourself some good. So in this case, picking up the same material more than once works to my benefit. Maybe one day I'll be able to afford a tub grinder. That'd be awesome here. And boy, would I love to have a grapple for my tractor. I just don't yet. Look at this. You can't fake that. I heard that one. It was like toing. Look at that. Junk. You got this well-built bucket, and they expect these to stay in place with them little roll pins. Unbelievable. I hope that tilt grading bucket's built with better parts. Just a quick note, I didn't have to fill my little ditch in all the way. I just filled in this little plug for my tires to go across. And next day we're up here, they're calling for rain. I can just cut this little section out and we'll be ready to roll again. I am accumulating quite the mound of wood. I was gonna move this pile out, and then we'll be able to load that last load of the small stuff down there. And then tomorrow, with what's left of our 2-day period, we'll pull tops up here and get them out of the way, call this done. Let's get all this pushed up into a pile. Good pile. Last load of this junk anyway, I think. I could be wrong. I may find more to load in. And that's okay if I do. We'll get all this tomorrow. To load these little trucks if they're like right perpendicular to you. So I'm gonna get it lined up and then we'll be ready to load. I am ready to get back on doing some driveway work. That's what I like doing. We're having to take the long trip around this time, but for you new guys, do not swing over top of the cab of your truck because you'll drop a stick or a log on it every time. I've never done it, but I just wouldn't risk it. That's the rule of thumb I've always been taught. So that's what I'm going to preach. If you don't swing over the cab, there's a good chance you're not going to drop anything on said cab. See, that's the other reason. Loading perpendicular, you squeeze everything, it lines up better. This is all elementary, but I'm trying to gauge this channel toward people who are beginners. There's enough channels about people who just dig and do their job and don't talk about it. You guys can watch Elite Earthworks, Dirt Toss Masonry, and Excavating. They're both good channels. If you're interested in just dump trucking, Dominique the dump truck driver. Check her out too. All good channels, folks, all good channels. I'm glad that sun went out. The glare won't be as bad on you guys. You guys can see I had a piece of, I believe it's 1/4 inch angle stock welded to the top of my tailgate. To give it a little bit of strength in, with that angle, it won't let gravel sit on top. There's a fair size stick. About flipped one up and hit my bumper. Hopefully you guys can see this all right. Okay, so I just switched over from a super view to just a wide view for anybody who's starting YouTube. You'd think a 3-foot bucket would do better, but with my size thumb, the 2-foot actually does better for picking stuff up. In my case, well, it's got a little bit of a big piece, but I think it might just fit halfway decent. Yep. We'll have this block cleaned up pretty good. There's those corners full. I think it helps. And yeah, somebody asked me about the plywood in the bed of my truck. It's just more or less to cushion when I'm loading big rocks. But it helps with wood too. Anything's going to help. Try to get these corners packed a little bit better. I'm hoping this is the last load of this stuff. I'm ready to move on to something a little bit different, I think. You guys are probably ready for me to move on to a different project too. I've had a lot of people commenting that they like the daily uploads, so I'll try to keep that going. My main thing is squeezing full jobs into one video. I don't like stretching them out in parts. And I don't think my viewers like it either. Tidy that up just a touch more, but I believe we're gonna get it. The purpose of this job was not to completely clean this up. They actually rent the cabin out, and they just want all of the big piles right in the view of renters to be gone. That's what I'm gonna do. As best I can, anyway. just love when a stick gets stuck in your bucket teeth. Nothing better. I'll just leave it there. For the moment. Big grab there. That stuff stays in the bucket pretty good, doesn't it? That wind will start blowing, then it'll blow it right in here. Par for the course. Must be some weather moving in. Dirt in these grabs. Cut me some higher boards for when I do these jobs. Luckily, there's a lot of dirt in this, and it'll help hold this high pile together, hopefully. In theory. We're almost there. Look at that hasty thing. Last sticks, and it's going to be the pain. Last stick. That one too. Why not? Both of you. Sticks out the way on it, isn't it? Hey, just be a sign. I believe she's full. Yep, that little truck is full. Let's haul it away, folks. Haul it away. Got movement. Let's see. I think I'm just going to leave everything down here. You gonna dump that load out? Go home and be a dad.